Okay, glad to know you're still there. And if you are just joining us, this is Rapid Sports on Rapid Television. Well, our guest is already on standby. I know definitely he will still be there. But let's tell you that today our attention will focus on the biggest football event on the planet, talking about the FIFA World Cup 2026, where Africa's football has continued to grow in strength and reputation over the years. Now, from the unforgettable performance of Cameroon in the 1990 World Cup, Senegal in 2002, Ghana in 2010, and most recently Morocco's historic semi-final appearance in the 2022 World Cup in Qatar, Africa has shown that it's the biggest amongst football elite. As we look ahead of the FIFA World Cup 2026, several questions arise. Which African star will shine on the biggest stage? Can Morocco repeat their historic achievement? Let's also ask you, which African nation has the strongest chance of reaching the semi-finals or even the finals? And perhaps the biggest question of them all, can any African country win the FIFA World Cup? Now, to help us answer these questions, I'm joined by a sport journalist all the way from the city, or probably center of excellence, that is Lagos, Adeniyi Obafemi Falana. It's good to have you, my brother, and thanks for joining us on the show this beautiful Monday evening.
Good evening at Rapid Sports. I don't know if you can hear me.
I can hear you loud and clear, Adeniyi. It's good to have you.
All right. Thank you so much, for having me here, and of course, it's a pleasure. When I got the invitation, I felt so happy to be called upon, because to talk about the biggest football event, we're talking about the world. That is the FIFA World Cup, happening in 3 days' time, United States of America,
Exactly.
Canada, as well as Mexico. So we are looking forward to that tournament, as well as the African representative. Sadly, for 2 consecutive World Cup now, Nigeria, I'm wearing green. It should have been good. I get to talk about Nigeria wearing this green today, but this green looks like the Senegalese green, by the way. So,
Okay.
Looking forward to the tournament. It's going to be an entertaining one. Nigeria there or not, we are going to enjoy the beautiful game of football.
Now, before you've actually just taken some questions out of my lips this evening, but let me ask you, how are you feeling that we are not there? The last time we were there was at Russia 2018. Even with that beautiful jersey we wore, it was a standout jersey at the Russia World Cup in 2018. But eventually, we didn't even go cross the group stage. And Qatar, we missed out. And when we thought that we have the young players that will do justice, especially at the World Cup, we are also not there. Now, as a sport journalist, how are you feeling? Because I know definitely you would have been waving those banners either in Mexico or probably in Canada or any of those cities of your choice. How are you feeling as a journalist?
To start with, it's a disappointing thing, for Nigeria not to participate at the FIFA World Cup, because I feel with the kind of population that we have in this country, talent has never been a problem. It is our best that we can harness those talents and put them into good use that has been a problem for Nigeria. And we thought we already crossed out after the 2018 World Cup in Russia. But then again, 2022, due to administrative issues, that is what I was attributed to, because just like I said, talent hasn't been a problem in Nigeria. It's those that are making the decision for us, in our sports sector, and not just football alone, that that has not been doing the right thing, for this country. Talking about putting square pegs in square holes, and we have not been doing that. We thought again that after 2022, maybe we've learned our lessons, but that did not happen. Qualifying for the 2026 World Cup, Coach Eric Chell, came in when everything was already late, because in our group we didn't have any issue. We shouldn't have any issue qualifying from that group as group winners. But hey, we found ourselves in the qualifying phase and having to play off with DR Congo. And I felt genuinely that DR Congo deserved, going to the tournament. I don't feel the Super Eagles deserve qualifying for the World Cup in 2026 off the back of the shambolic, performance we had in the group stage. It would have been a very, very bad thing for other countries, to drop and the Super Eagles qualify, because if we are going to be sincere with ourselves, we didn't really play well during the qualifying phase.
At all.
We didn't play well. We had to rely on individual brilliances from players. We didn't play well as a team. Even as a nation, our administrators did not do the right thing for us to qualify. So it would have been a bitter one for other countries that their administrators put a lot of work, into their football. And it has been our issue, for so long that individual performances, we rely on individual performances to qualify for major tournament. And I think, I hope, because this was the same prayer and hope that I had after we didn't qualify for the 2022 World Cup, that I hope that they will correct their mistakes and maybe we'll qualify for 2026. But guess what? That hope and prayer did not work because we did not do the right thing. But it is just a sad one that, as journalists, we have a lot to lose, for Nigerian qualifying, because whether we like it or not, brands will have jumped on a lot of media coverage for this FIFA World Cup if the Super Eagles are qualified. Journalists would have quote and unquote what we see on the street of Lagos here would have eaten good. We'll be eating good right now if the Super Eagles qualify, because a lot of events, a lot of how will I put it now? A lot of World Cup programs would have been put in place if the Super Eagles, are qualified. And if those programs are put in place, definitely brands will up on it to advertise their product, and the money will flow around for everybody. Everybody will do, will have something to smile on with at the end of the day. And also, probably 1 or 2 or 3 or 5 or maybe 10, as the case may be, journalists would have been sponsored to go and cover the World Cup, in Russia or in Canada or Mexico, as the case may be. And that would have boosted a lot of people's CV, because I know a lot of my friends that covered the Côte d'Ivoire AFCON tournament in 2023, and that boosted their CV. So it was easier for them to get brands to sponsor them for the Nations Cup in Morocco. And that same thing would have happened at this World Cup. But it is not the case, because sometimes they feel it's just the player that is missing out. Journalists are also missing out. A lot of people that plan traveling for the World Cup are missing out of this, So hopefully, again, we pray and we hope that our administrators will do the right thing for us to qualify for the 2030 World Cup in 4 years' time.
Okay, let's see how it begins. Public preparations will begin in earnest. I'm sure that is what Eric Chell is trying to do, putting players together ahead of the qualifiers, beginning from the qualifiers of the Nations Cup in East Africa, Uganda, Kenya, and Tanzania. Then we'll see how preparations for the World Cup begin. That is if Eric Chell will still remain as coach of the Super Eagles. Okay, let's head.
That is one big question that we don't know. We don't know the answer to yet, because I think his contract is expiring at the end of July.
Is it July? I was thinking it was January. They gave him 2 years contract. I was thinking it's going to expire in January next year.
Okay.
And nothing.
I hope they retain him.
That's a good. You mentioned, you talked about administrative issues for the 2022 World Cup. I don't want to waste our time because we really don't want to focus on the Super Eagles. I wanted asking you, is it the same administrative issues that we have in this same 26 World Cup that we are not going? Or is it the same, the more you see, the less you understand from the glass house?
Yeah, if you followed Nigerian football for the past 20 years, about 25 years, it's more or less like deja vu with our football. People in the glass house just play politics with our sports, play politics with our football, and that is one thing that is quote and unquote giving Nigerians joy in this country, if I'm allowed to say that.
Sure.
And then again, you are depriving us of this. And if you look at it, it is not just football alone. Athletics, we have the same thing. Boxing, we have the same thing. It's more or less like all our sporting sector. And it is not rocket science that this is the same issue we have in almost every sector in this country. So sport is not exempted from it. But then again, this thing is not difficult once again. It is not difficult to do. They see the way things are being done in foreign countries. And I don't know why they cannot borrow that same template from other countries to use here in Nigeria. But then again, based on what we've seen now with Eric Chell, I think they are allowing him, the free hand to do what he wants to do with the Super Eagles. To build the team into his own identity. And I just hope that they keep it like that they allow him, they don't enforce players on him, they don't use politics to bring players to the Super Eagles camp. They allow him to, to scout for players outside the country and also within our Nigerian, professional football league, because there are a couple of players that can be called into the team. And so if they allow him, to do the job, whatever administrative thing they want to do, let them be doing it behind the scenes, but allow the coach to focus and do whatever he wants to do. And hopefully, prayerfully, we will keep praying for them also, because prayer is not too much. And hope they do the right thing. And come 2030, the next Nations Cup in Uganda and Tanzania, we'll find ourselves and we are victorious, from all those tournaments. Hopefully.
Okay. Now let's head straight to Africa's representatives at the World Cup. For the first time, we're having 10 teams. And a lot of online speculations, a lot of things going online. But let's begin from Italian 90. It was Cameroon who broke the jinx, getting through the knockout stage. And then we also, exactly, we saw the Super Eagles following suit in the 1994 World Cup. Then in 2002, the Teranga Lions of Senegal stunned the Le Blues of France in their opening game. And then we also saw what Ghana did at South Africa 2010. Then finally, it is the turn of Morocco, the last edition. Now the question is, do you think the African teams can really go far, or can any team break the record Morocco has set?
Well, if I'm being sincere with you, just two teams that in my mind in Africa I feel can actually go further than the quarterfinal stage, or maybe the round of 16 stage, as the case may be. And that has to do, don't let us forget that we are going to be having a round of 32 at this World Cup.
Yes.
We're going to be having a quarterfinal, so a round of 32 games before we get to a round of 16. So if an African country makes it to the round of 16, we can also target as an African country making it to the quarterfinal, like we've been having in the previous edition. So if an African country gets to the quarterfinal, then the success can also be tagged as just like Morocco that got to the semi-final. Yeah. So maybe if we make a semi-final this time around, out of 64 teams, then that will probably be the best outing, for an African team. And if you're looking at African teams that can make it to the round of 16 or quarterfinal stage this time around again, my smart money or anybody's smart money, well, this is not a financial advice for those that are watching, by the way, so don't come and say that at this station, you people say the African team is going to get to the quarterfinal, but this is just my honest opinion here. I'm looking at Morocco and Senegal as the two teams that should be able, all things being equal, they should be able to get to the round of 16 and also crack the quarterfinal stage. Both teams played at the last Nations Cup final, where we had that infamous, Senegal boycotting the game and coming back. And I still think both teams, to get, to the quarterfinal stage, at least the quarterfinal stage at this tournament. Because if you look at both teams, we have talented players, Achraf, Hakimi comes to mind when it comes to Morocco. And we can't forget their goalkeeper also, who for me is one of the top 10 goalkeepers in the world. Again, I was playing in the Saudi Pro League. That is Yasin Bono in goal for them. And we can also forget Real Madrid, Brahim Díaz, in attack for them. So these are formidable names when it comes to football, in Africa and of course in the European scene. So I'm tipping Morocco to get to the quarterfinal, as well as Senegal. Of course, Sadio Mané is still there showing himself. Liam Ndiaye that plays for Everton is there. Ismaïla Sarr that plays for Crystal Palace also still in the team. And of course, Mendy is still in goal for the team. Idrissa Gana Gueye also in the heart of the midfield for Senegal. So I'm looking at both teams, Morocco and Senegal, getting to the quarterfinal stage. Maybe you want to put Egypt in the mix for the round of 16 thereabout. You might also want to look at that. Côte d'Ivoire also in the mix because they have some exciting players, within their team. So, but hey, my smart money is on Senegal and Morocco getting to at least the quarterfinal stage. And of course, both teams are also the top two in Africa. So I'm looking at both teams, getting to the semi-final, to the quarterfinal of the FIFA World Cup. Yeah, I saw the picture on the screen that just popped up now. Nicolas Jackson is another name that you want to look at. as pulling the string. I think Senegal and Morocco should get to the quarterfinal, of this year's FIFA World Cup.
Okay, before we go into individual players, you've actually made your choice on Morocco, Senegal, and if possible, we see Egypt getting to either the round of 32 or the round of 16. Now, let's look at teams making their debut at the World Cup. Then we see at other teams that have been there before. Cape Verde, the Blue Sharks of Cape Verde. They seem to be a country really, really silent. They missed out on the Nations Cup and also with Ghana, but they've been really silent when it comes to preparations. Is it that they are cooking something that we don't know, or probably waiting to storm any other countries that will storm their way? Let's look at Cape Verde at this time.
Well, Cape Verde have been coming up, when it comes to the tournament in Africa, talking about AFCON. But then again, I don't think they are going to do anything spectacular at this FIFA, World Cup. It's their debut tournament, so probably this will be like a learning curve for them, if I'm allowed to say that. I don't expect anything spectacular from Cape Verde. If they manage to get 3 points, in their group stage, I think it's something that they will be able to smile about. I won't be surprised if they get a goal. If they get a goal and they celebrate elaborately, I mean, their first ever goal in the FIFA World Cup. So I won't be surprised. If that happens to them. But beyond managing to get 3 points, I don't think they will be able to make it out of the group stage, for this tournament. Maybe after this tournament, they look at whatever they've done right and what and build on it, and what they didn't do well, that they can work on it. But I don't think they are going to get past the group stage, at this tournament.
Okay, let's look at another team. They missed the Nations Cup, and they are now back to the world stage. Talking about the Black Stars of Ghana. Now, I saw some post online. If Ghana can really go far at the nation, in short, now they are making mockery. Nigeria is not at the World Cup, and if eventually they go that far at the World Cup, I wonder what will happen. I don't want to use the Ghana-Niger Jollof as a scenario, but it seems that is what when it comes to Nigeria and Ghana, there's always something that will come out. So let's look at the Ghanaian team at the World Cup.
Well, Ghana, maybe just like Egypt and Tunisia, should be able to crack it, and move out of their group, which would be an achievement for this team that I mentioned, off the back of what they are currently playing and the players they have at their disposal. I don't see Ghana springing any surprise. And by surprise, I mean getting to the quarterfinal stage in this tournament. Because it will be a big one. It will be a monumental achievement for them at this current World Cup if Ghana gets to the quarterfinal stage. But then again, I think getting to the round of 16 will be an overachievement for the team, in my own honest opinion. The round of 32 should be where everything stops, for them. Then again, it's my honest opinion, and this is football. Anything is possible in football. They might get a favorable draw in the round of 32 if they make it out of their group. They might get a favorable draw. I think they'll fancy their chances against the teams rated 16th and below in the world if they eventually make it out of their group and they face such teams in the round of 32. But then again, everything they're going to be playing will be heavily, they will rely heavily on Antoine Semenyo and see what he can do for the team. It could have been Antoine Semenyo on one flank and Mohamed Kudus on another flank if Kudus wasn't injured. But with Kudus injured, I think everything will rely on Antoine Semenyo and Thomas Partey in the midfield, for them to be able to come up with anything for Ghana. But just like I said earlier on, I think a round of 32 will be a commendable feat for Ghana at this year's FIFA World Cup.
Okay, away from Ghana, let's head straight to DR Congo. Yes, they stunned the Super Eagles in the last playoff. That's the playoffs in Morocco. Before they were able to qualify for the intercontinental playoffs, and they also did well by sending, Jamaica out and picked one of the tickets. That's the last ticket for the World Cup. Now, DR Congo making a return to the World Cup after so many years, and anytime I see them play, I see a defensive kind of play, both on the continent and even when they play friendlies and so on like that. Are we going to see same? And can they also go far at this year's tournament? DR Congo.
Well, if you look at DR Congo's game so far, from the Nations Cup to the World Cup qualifier, I think it's built on resilient defending. And in the word of Salah Ferguson, striker win you game, but defenders win you tournament. And well, Arteta couldn't win the UEFA Champions League with that, by the way, but he was able to win. He was able to win the Premier League. So there's an element of truth in that defense will win you title. And so that is what DR Congo has been able to do with their football. But without work, at the international stage, well, that is left to be seen. But then again, they have a good mix of players. A lot of players that couldn't crack it with Western countries and are coming back to play for the African country. Players like we have Gail Kakuta in the team, Chance Mbemba in defense, Axel Twanzebe also in defense, and also former Manchester United player that just got relegated with Western Era Wan-Bissaka. So they have a good mix of players, that can do a lot. There's this particular striker I want to call, Cedric Becambo, also in the team. I think he plays for he plays for Real Betis in Spain. And also cannot forget Newcastle United, Johan Wissa. So it's a combination of a lot of players with from different football background, different football knowledge in Europe. You have players from Belgium, players from the Dutch League. You have players from the Spanish La Liga and also from the Premier League, all coming together to play for DR Congo. I think they are a team that can spring, surprises, in the team. I'm trying to look at their group right now to see play. They are in the same group with Colombia, Uzbekistan, and Portugal. Yeah. So I fancy they should be able to beat Uzbekistan. Don't disrespect to Uzbekistan, but DR Congo should have enough, to beat Uzbekistan. Maybe they can make a draw against Portugal. I mean, you probably want to look at it as Portugal as one of the most formidable teams at this year's World Cup.
Exactly.
Football. This is football. Anything is possible. But I think they will fancy their chance in the group. I think it's going to be a winner takes all against Colombia. Because all things being equal, we expect Portugal to beat Colombia, beat DR Congo, and also beat Uzbekistan. So if DR Congo can get 3 points against Uzbekistan, it should be a winner-takes-all battle between them and Colombia. And the African in me definitely wants to tilt towards DR Congo beating Colombia. Yeah, I mean, I want to be
even someone was even saying it this afternoon, looking at the game between Colombia and DR Congo. I might even look at that game. There might not be much goals in that particular game, but it is what to play for after 90 minutes.
Definitely. Like I said, both of them should be able to get 3 points against Uzbekistan, talking about DR Congo and Colombia. So the game between both teams, they'll probably look at the Portugal game and say that, okay, Portugal will probably beat two of us. So that game against each other is probably the game that will decide the team that will join Portugal in the round of 62, in the round of 32. But then again, this is football again. We are just doing analysis here. Anything is possible. Who says Portugal can lose all 3 games? I mean, this is football.
Exactly.
It will be a disaster, by the way. But we have seen situations like this in the FIFA World Cup. Spain in 2018. I don't think they won. Okay, they won a game. They got knocked out by Russia. In the round of 16. Then we've seen France, defending champion, getting knocked out of the 2002 FIFA World Cup. Senegal, an African team, part of the team that defeated them, at that same World Cup. So DR Congo can also do the same thing this time around to Portugal. But in all fairness, if you're looking at football and look at it, you expect Portugal should get maximum points against the 3 opponents. So I think the game between DR Congo and Colombia would decide or would determine if DR Congo will make it, to the round of 32, which again should be benchmark for the team at the end of the day.
Okay, let's head straight to one of the West African countries. That's Ivory Coast. They lifted the trophy last season. That's talking about the last AFCON on home soil. But they couldn't go far. The last tournament, they crashed out. And now they qualified for the World Cup. And they've had an impressive run in one or two of the friendlies. Do you think they can, with all these, put themselves together and really go? Just like you said, round of 32 is the benchmark for some African team. But how far do you think the Elephants can go?
Well, the Elephants of Cote d'Ivoire, over the years, they have been trying to build a much smaller team, a younger team, I beg your pardon, for the country. And looking at their group, I think if there's one African country that should at least make it out of their group, it has to be Ivory Coast. It has to be Ivory Coast because they are in the same group with the Dutch boys, the Orange boys, Netherlands. They are in the same group also with Ecuador. They are in the same group with another debutant at the World Cup, Curacao. So I think Cote d'Ivoire should have enough, to make it, out of the group, for this tournament. I think they can fancy their chances against Netherlands. Netherlands are not they are a superpower, they are a world power, they are a big team, a formidable team when it comes to international football. But if you look at the team, maybe few word beaters in the team, in the Dutch team. So Cote d'Ivoire will probably.
Ever since the golden age of Iron Robin and Robin van Persie, we don't see the Dutch team flow the way Frank and Ronald de Boer. We don't see them flow the way they flow those golden age.
Yeah, I think it has to do with the fact that they also moved away from the Dutch style of football that we grew up watching. Football these days is all about tactics, being compact, trying to stifle your opponent and the rest. And but I think the Dutch still has it in them to cause one or two upsets. It would be a disaster, if they don't make it out of the group. So they should have enough to make it out of the group to be followed by Ivory Coast. In all fairness, I think Ivory Coast will make it out of the group because Ivory Coast should be able to get maximum points against Curacao, and they should be able to beat Ecuador. No disrespect to Ecuador, another South American team, but I don't think Ecuador is South American enough to beat to beat Cote d'Ivoire in this tournament. And if you look at Cote d'Ivoire, a couple of players, there are few players that can cause an upset, in the team. There's a certain Diomande that plays for RB Leipzig, one of the breakout stars from the 2025-2026 season. There's another Diomande that plays for the Sporting Lisbon in defense. They also have a certain Evan Ndika, in the defense. And then let us forget Manchester United young winger Amad Diallo, also part of the team. Ibrahim Sangare, also part of the team. Frank Kese, still part of that team, even though he's a veteran now in that particular team. So I think Cote d'Ivoire should have enough, to make it out of the group. And again, round of 32 is another benchmark, for Cote d'Ivoire at least to get to. One of those African teams that round of 32 is the benchmark for them. But who says if they get a favorable draw, if they make it out of the group and they get a favorable draw in the round of 32, just imagine maybe Cote d'Ivoire gets to the round of 32 and they get game against teams like, let's just say Sweden, or teams like United States of America, or teams like Canada. Are you telling me that they won't fancy their chances against all these teams that I mentioned?
That's a big question.
I mean, everybody gets to the round of 32 and hope for a favorable, because that is what happens majorly in cup tournament. You get to the next round and you hope for a favorable draw. And I think that is what most African teams should be looking out for right now. That let us get out of that group and get a favorable draw in the round of 32. I seriously think Cote d'Ivoire should make it. I mean, look at it now. Netherlands, Curacao, and Ecuador. I mean, that is a group that I would have prayed for Nigeria to get into if we had made it.
If we had qualified.
I mean, so Cote d'Ivoire should have enough to make it to the next round.
Okay, let's look at two North African countries. We've mentioned Morocco area and Egypt, but we've not talked about Algeria and Tunisia. another North African team. Quickly, do you think they can also match the firepower of Senegal, Egypt, and Morocco? Talking about Algeria and Tunisia.
Well, I doubt if Tunisia will be able to make it, out of their group. I doubt it. But then again, it's football. Anything is possible. Tunisia really don't have somebody that you will call a world power or a star player, in the world. In the world of football, Tunisia don't have such player right now. So I don't think Tunisia will be able to make it out of the group. I mean, they can prove me wrong, by the way, but I don't think they will make it out of the group. Then Algeria also, I think after the 2018 World Cup, the 2018 Nations Cup, the 2022 Nations Cup, and 2023 Nations Cup, Algeria hasn't really done enough, to give me that optimism that they might be able to, strike fear in opponent side. But then again, they are not African. And North African football is almost the same with European style of play. But then again, they don't have star player, one individual player. Real Mahrez is no longer the Real Mahrez that
we used to know.
We used to know. So Ismaïla Benessia also in midfield for Algeria. But I don't think they have enough, to cause an upset at this tournament. I think the group stage is probably the best that they can do. And they've done that already by qualifying. So, okay. But then again, this is football. Anything is possible.
Quickly, the last country, South Africa, they will play, they will have the opening game against Mexico. Yes, the last time they were involved in an opening game was at home in 2010, and now they will take on Mexico. In 30 seconds, how do you think Bafana will go throughout this tournament, especially playing against host nation, Mexico?
Mexico, South Africa, I think we have South Korea and Czech Republic. The group that no big, quote unquote, no big superpower, no superpowers in that particular group. South Africa should have enough in them. I think a draw in the first game, whatever happened in the first game, will give us a pointer at what to expect from South Africa. Mexico are playing host nation, one of the host nations, so home support will be there for Mexico. But hey, who says South Africa cannot do what Mexico did to them 16 years ago by getting a draw, against them? And so a draw in the game against Mexico will go a long way, to help South Africa, to navigate the rest of the group. Czech Republic are not that strong, if I'm allowed to say that. Yeah, they are not that strong also. And same thing can be said about South Korea, who their star player is still Son Heung-min, who plays in the United States of America, by the way. So that tells you a lot about the quality of players in South Africa. But then again, a certain Kim Min-jae, who plays for Bayern Munich, is still in the team. I think they have Kang Lee also that plays for Paris Saint-Germain for South Korea. So I think this team, anybody can qualify from that group. So I can't say South Africa will get knocked out, and I can't say South Africa will qualify. It depends on who wants it more from the group. But then again, as an African, I am tilting towards South Africa, making it out. I am tilting towards South Africa making it out of that group. But the group is very open. This is one of the most open groups, in this FIFA World Cup. I can't call it group for death. I can't call it easy group. It's an open group, and I think anybody who wants it more again, I will qualify from the group. But my smart money as an African is to put all my money on South Africa, to make it out of that group. But what they do in their first game against Mexico will be very, very, very key.
Okay, Adeni, I have to follow up with you with this your smart money you have been calling, and I have to clinch with you. And in case the smart money starts working in, then we'll see how we can cash out. Okay, Adeni, truly appreciate you. Time is not our friend, but I want to appreciate you, especially looking at all the countries, 10 of them at the World Cup, and we'll be able to touch each and every one of them, even mentioning their key and star players. Truly appreciate you. Hopefully you'll be available for us, especially when the World Cup kickstarts in the next few days, so that we can run this analysis together.
Definitely, I'll be available. And I don't know if you're a fan of Messi, But I want Argentina to retain the World Cup.
And I also want Portugal to see if they can lift it because of Cristiano Ronaldo.
Now I know where your loyalty lies.
Truly appreciate you, Adeni. Thank you so much. Let's do it again some other time.
Definitely, you're welcome.
Okay, and this is where we blow the final whistle on the show this evening. It has been an interesting one, especially looking at the African countries that will represent the Confederation of African Football at the 2026 FIFA World Cup that we go down in the couple of days, yes, 3 days from now. Well, for the Super Eagles of Nigeria, in as much as we are not there, I think we are being represented by Nuno Madueke. We also have Eberechi Eze. Saka is also being representing Nigeria, and we also have Olise from Bayern Munich, who will also be representing his country for Nigeria. So let's just leave it that way. Nigeria, by blood, we are represented. And then, Victor, do have yourself a beautiful evening.